Today we thought we'd share with you guys a little bit about our story, how we became an RVing family, where we started, where we are now, and how we got there.
That's right, today we're going to tell you a little bit about why we decided to become a traveling family, from a stationary family to a family that just travels and moves and wants to see everything we can possibly see, because it wasn't really necessarily something we had planned. It's just kind of something that happened. What?
This is a beautiful spot to take pictures.
Okay, so we thought it'd be fitting for us to introduce ourselves here at the beginning, since this is all of our stories, and we're just going to be referring to each other by name, and you might not even know what name is connected to what person. So all the way there at the end, we've got Reed. Reed, yeah, he's 13. We got Cooper.
Hey.
He's 10. We got Maxwell. He's 6. And we've got Jenna. We're not going to say Jenna's age.
No.
And I'm Joel. And Rosie, come. That's a good girl. Yeah. How long have you been in our family? So it was about 5 years ago that I got the harebrained idea to buy this cheap camper that was sitting in a chiropractor's parking lot, and I convinced Jenna that it was a great idea. It was 15 years old. It leaked and had old tires on it and everything, but it was our ticket to freedom. That was the sales pitch I gave, which I guess it worked, right?
Right. Yeah, we at that time just wanted to go on some weekend trips, places that weren't too far from home. I
thought of it as prepaying for vacation, because if I bought this camper, then there's no way I would let it sit in the driveway and do nothing with it, because I'm that cheap. So we bought this camper and said, let's plan on going some adventures, and we did. We went on a few and just kind of got bit by the bug.
And when we adopted Maxwell, we didn't want to stop traveling and seeing things, but we knew that we couldn't stay in hotels and just change his environment all the time. And so we bought a travel trailer. It was still pretty small, but it had bunks and we could all fit. And so the boys could play in that, and he really got used to that environment. And then whenever we started traveling, he was in a familiar place every night. Yeah,
which was important.
We really started thinking about where we were living. At that time we were living in Southern Ohio near family.
Very rural, Southern Ohio.
Yeah, with no diversity whatsoever, and so we made the decision that we wanted to move. We just weren't really sure where we wanted to go.
And since we were already homeschoolers, I had started my own business several years before, so I could live anywhere. It started the wheels turning in our mind, and we didn't really know where we were going or what we were doing, but we had decided to sell our house, and the only thing we knew was we were going to sell our house and do a little bit of traveling. We were going to look around, see where we might be able to settle, what might be a good spot. So we took our travel trailer at the time, got in it, and just set off for the great unknown. That was pretty tough, right guys?
Show the view. Yeah.
We are in Newport News, Virginia today, and we're only here for a couple days. This is day number 15 of camper life. Yesterday my eyes swelled up for no reason at all, and they've yet to go down. We're here at Cascade Falls, and I believe the name of the town is Cascade Falls, right?
I don't know.
We moved up the coast, found ourselves in Portland, Maine, and we hit our first ocean. So here we are.
We're in the water. That's the way. My thing totally hurts. Hey, come on, get in the water.
Bar Harbor, Maine. We are here for our first
lobster.
lobster.
No,
Maine Lobster. We left our campsite at 11 and only had 6 hours to drive. You'd think, oh, we're there by dinner. Well, here we are. It's 7 o'clock at night and we're still an hour and a half away. Tonight we come to you from Niagara Falls, New York.
I really wouldn't like to be the guy in the barrel.
Hey there, greetings from Cooperstown, New York. We are in the Cooperstown Dreams Park.
Hey, I have a Batmobile!
We are standing in the Hall of Fame. All right, Ohioans, we are in Cuyahoga National Park. Day one of baseball in Williamsport. Night baseball. Doesn't get any more American than this. Right, we are here in Memphis, Tennessee at the Sportsman's Paradise. It's a Bass Pro Shop in the shape of a pyramid. Welcome to Tulsa, Oklahoma. We are here in Wichita, Kansas now. It has proven to be one of the most beautiful cities we have been to yet. We are here at the Petrified Forest National Park. Think of the painted desert and all the mountains.
I want to be a soccer player right now.
What's that got to do with the mountains? Huh?
I want to be a soccer player.
What's that got to do with anything?
I don't know.
Hey there, bodacious people. We are in Cottonwood, Arizona, getting ready to go trick-or-treating. Tonight, we have climbed up a mountain to this funky little town called Jerome, Arizona. And so we wrap up another trip to yet another national park. We're checking them off our list. We got to see North America's tallest dunes.
Rocky Mountain National Park!
Camping at the base of Pikes Peak all week, waiting on the weather to clear, and today, finally, we got a beautiful day. Well, this morning we leave Albuquerque, New Mexico. All right, we are here in Sedona at Chipotle with a view. Pretty cool, huh, guys?
I'm standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona.
Do you remember when we moved into the camper for the first time?
I was definitely skeptical.
Skeptical?
Very skeptical.
That's a shock. What were you skeptical about?
Just about everything.
About
that
everything?
point.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. But how did it turn out?
It was okay.
It was okay. All right. I'm proud of you for making that admission. Do you remember when we moved into the camper?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I'm very adventurous, so I was kind of excited.
And Maxwell?
My first thoughts were, that was amazing.
It probably would have been a better idea to tell our story on a trail that wasn't quite so strenuous. Why are you behind me? Prom photo.
What the heck?
So the only plan that we had when we left home was to go to Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yep, to visit some friends.
Yep, we had some friends that were moving there, and we thought maybe we might want to live there.
Yeah.
And so we spent a couple weeks at Jordan Lake State Park. That's good memory right there.
Mm-hmm.
When it was time to leave, we all felt the same way. We thought, this gravy train don't need to stop. We just need to keep on rolling.
Right.
And so that's exactly what we did. We just kept traveling.
We really just felt like we hadn't found the place where we were supposed to live.
Mm-hmm.
We loved being on the road. We loved traveling. And
We did.
what we didn't realize whenever we started was that there's actually this huge community of families that travel full time.
Right, but we found that out. In fact, we found out that there were some friends of ours that started doing the exact same thing at the exact same time. So once we decided to stay on the road, we did a couple things. We went back to Ohio and we sold our little travel trailer. We went to a big fifth wheel.
Yep.
It was a glorious RV and started doing this thing very seriously.
So we are at the Red Rocks Loop Trail in Boulder, Colorado. It's one of our favorite little hikes.
Is this some kind of cow poke? What's that thing in your mouth?
It's a piece of grass.
Oh, well,
hobbit home.
Yeah.
Precious.
What?
My precious.
So we didn't keep traveling because it was easy. We kept traveling because it was in that summer that we decided that travel was going to be one of the core values of our family. That us showing our kids as much of this country as possible was extremely important to us. And once we got out just a little bit, we thought we need to show them more. And once we showed them more, we thought we need to show them everything so that hopefully one day they're going to become adults. And one day they're going to go off on their own, and maybe this experience will make it easier for them to choose where in the world they're going to be, how they're going to be, and what they want to be in this world.
Well, really, we just wanted them to kind of have the courage to do what they want to do, and we kind of wanted our kids to know that they're allowed to go wherever they want to go, and they were allowed to do whatever they want to do. They can live wherever they want to live. So that was really important to us.
Oh God!
I just slipped it
I
in.
got
that
it.
on camera.
How did I get that on camera? Am I allowed to put that in the video?
No.
AFV, hit us up.
What if I was really hurt? 25.
What happened?
I dropped my water bottle down the hole.
Down the hole.
Okay. I'll grab Reed.
All right, Reed.
Grab on to Maxwell.
Be careful.
This isn't gonna work. Let go. Let's go.
Human chain.
Let's go, Reed.
Human chain.
All right. No, not doing human chain. Let
Get
go.
it, Rosie.
All right, come back up.
Reed, are you gonna come up? Do you need
I thought
Daddy?
you were doing human chain.
You got it.
Success.
So I guess that leads to the question, how did Boulder, Colorado end up being our new home?
How did it become our home?
We actually were on our way to Texas, heading southbound whenever my friend and I just decided we have to go see some fall leaves before winter hits. And so
And if your wives want to go see the leaves, you detour
right.
the whole route to go see the
to
leaves.
go see some foliage. But we did, and we loved it here. We loved the mountains. We loved just the outdoorsy lifestyle that people lead here.
We camped in Fort Collins, came down to Boulder for one weekend.
Actually, just one day.
Just one day, you're right. And in that one day, we met some phenomenal people.
Absolutely.
We didn't know how phenomenal they would be until later, but that's another part of the story, isn't it? Okay, one child left the dog leash on the back side of the mountain, so I had to run back up with said child to go get the dog
Look at
leash.
me.
So we've decided that's enough story for today. We'll pick back up with you tomorrow. There you go. You ready for some dinner?
Yeah.
Hi.
Okay, so this should be a little bit easier because this is the second time we're running through this. Our audio wasn't plugged in the first time, so we got all of our crying out of the way, and that's just a foreshadowing of this being the most difficult part of our story.
Super emotional.
So yeah, up until this point you might be thinking, life sounds pretty good, life's pretty easy, these people are lucky, and in many ways we are lucky, but when we left Boulder and headed down towards the Grand Canyon, things started to get more complicated. In fact, the Grand Canyon is kind of a significant place for us because when we first bought an RV, we talked about how we wanted to go to the Grand Canyon. Like, this thing will take us to the Grand Canyon, and that was kind of like our big mark to check off the list. And we got there, we were excited to go the very next day to the Grand Canyon. It was just an hour train ride in, and we started noticing some very funny symptoms with our middle son, Cooper. And so Jenna decided to take him to the emergency room.
Yeah, he was just really thirsty is all I can say. He was chugging water, and we were hoping he might just be dehydrated. Maybe it was the elevation, and we were hoping he could just get some fluids and we could go to the Grand Canyon. But instead, he was actually admitted to the hospital in Flagstaff, Arizona, and diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
Yeah, and we didn't even know what was going on, to the point where I just sent Jenna and Cooper to the hospital alone. I didn't think it would be a very big deal. I thought he'll get checked out. They'll, you know, he'll be fine. They'll put him out the door. We'll go to the Grand Canyon in the afternoon. But that's not how it happened.
Yeah.
So thankfully, we had our good friends Tommy and Summer right there with us, as we told you before. They took the other two boys. I ran into Flagstaff, and we spent a couple days in the hospital, just kind of learning what it was going to be like to have a child with type 1 diabetes, what we needed to do to care for him, how to
super overwhelming.
Yeah, do finger pricks and insulin shots and things that we knew nothing about. This certainly seemed impossible to us at the moment, but things nonetheless we have learned to handle and do over the years.
Right. Yeah, it was pretty chaotic at first because we had to decide what we were going to do next, because he needed a treatment team. He needed these consistent doctors who were going to take care of him. So we had to decide where we were going to kind of plant roots, at least for a while. Yeah,
we knew we couldn't just continue to travel around. You know, as we'd been in a new location every week or two. He needed a team of doctors. He needed a primary care doctor for this treatment. And so the only thing we knew was that we had met a group of people in Boulder that were fantastic. We loved the city. And so we thought to ourselves, let's just go settle there temporarily. So we decided to go back to Boulder. We ended up putting our whole rig, our fifth wheel, into storage, and we rented a little house for a short period of time just to try to figure things out. We are getting ready to go and look for a temporary place to live. How do you feel over there?
A little stressed.
A little stressed is the theme of the day. But hey, we're getting through it. We're doing fine. This is a part of the process. And we are going to go to Boulder and see what we can find there, right?
Yep. What was really cool to me is that when we were in Arizona and I took Cooper to his follow-up appointment after his hospitalization, I told his doctor, okay, we're going to go back up and settle down near Denver, Colorado. And he said, do you know that if there's anywhere in the whole world, I'm gonna cry, I can't get through it.
He said if you could be anywhere with a child that has diabetes, it would be Denver, because one of the best research facilities in the whole country is here for juvenile diabetes. And so we literally walked right back into the best possible care he could ever receive anywhere, probably in the world, without knowing it. So yeah, that's where we were. That's where we are, because after being here for about a year, we decided that we wanted to make this home base. And that was important to us, that we knew eventually we were going to find a home base. We just didn't know where it was. And we didn't know diabetes would tell us where it was going to be.
Right.
But this is where it ended up being. And we couldn't be happier. We feel incredibly blessed. All of our friends, all the community, all the cultural things that we enjoy are here in Boulder, and it was never a part of the plan. It just happened, and we've been rolling with the punches ever since, because there's been a lot of punches thrown at us. And you know, for those of you that are wondering, Cooper's doing great. He's managing his diabetes really well. He's learning to make good choices as a young man who will one day have to care for himself without us, but he's doing really well with it all, and is extremely active. He's not hindered at all by this, and you see it in the videos. He's a little crazy.
So now that we're settled with the home base, we still want to travel as much as we can, and we do feel that we're back at the point where it's safe and we're comfortable doing that. With Cooper, it's changed for sure. We can only travel part-time. He has to be seen here in clinic every 3 months. so we kind of can go out and then we have to come back. So our rig is different, our schedule is different, but it's still good.
Yeah, in fact, something that we didn't tell you was that because of all that happened when we were in our fifth wheel and our truck, we decided to sell that while we were sitting at home stationary, because for a time we didn't know when and if we'd ever get back to it. And then when it came time that we felt ready to travel again, we just started over. We ended up getting something very small. We actually did so well, I think, the first time out with it, that we decided this year to upgrade to our Class A so we could do more traveling. And I think maybe that's the moral of the story, is that something like this may be jarring, but it doesn't have to be the end. It just means that things have to be different. And that was 2 years ago. And it took us 2 years to really feel ready to get back out there and to do this in a longer form, as much as we could. But now we are ready. We're looking forward to whatever the future might bring us.
I think a lot of times people have something that happens to them, or they're in a situation that's hard, and they look at something like travel or RVing and they think, oh, that's too hard, I couldn't do that. But in reality, if you just start where you are, you start small, you do what you can do, and then it grows from there.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated. And as you have learned from our story, you don't have to plan it. Just kind of let it happen. Everything we did was one foot in front of the other. So you don't have to be a mastermind. You don't have to have it all figured out. We're just thankful to have 3 boys that are now healthy. They're thriving, they're growing, and we can share these experiences with them. And we share all that with you because we think that it might encourage some of you to actually get started on some things that you might be putting off, or might be thinking, well, we can't because one of our kids has this going on or that going on. And we can tell you that there's always a good excuse not to. But there's never a better choice than to get started and do something you'll really enjoy.
We're glad you guys have been here with us on this journey. We'd love to hear about your stories, how you got started traveling, or maybe what you're dreaming of doing.
Yeah, and we're going to continue to share our journey every single Saturday right here. So if you've watched this incredibly long and heartfelt, drawn-out video, it's probably time to subscribe if you're not already. Hit the bell. It'll notify you every time we put out a new video, but you can count on us every single Saturday because we want to continue to share this. So until next time, get out there and have some fun for yourself, and we will see you right back here next Saturday.
Bye.
Bye. How many people have fallen on this hike?
Well, Mommy. Reed.
And you?
No.
No? Cooper? Who hasn't fallen? You? And who else?
Daddy.
Yeah, high five.
What about me? Hey, Cooper. No, I haven't fallen.
You fell on camera.
No, okay, I would like to see that footage.